Welcome everybody to Providence Friends Meeting, and I thank all of you for coming today. It's so great to have such a nice turnout, thanks to the Lincoln Choir too. I'm sorry to have my back to you. Such a nice turnout to help us with this celebration. And today's program is going to be interesting, it's going to be informative, it's going to be spiritual, and most of all, it's going to be spirit-led.
Wow, this is a real treat. Standing room only. Thank you so much. It's it's just wonderful to have all of our friends and neighbors and fellow Quakers. This is really a unique and historic experience for us. We're really happy to have pastors from local churches, and it kind of gives us all a very ecumenical flavor. Slavery casts a long shadow, and the impact that it has cast and the decades of Jim Crow discrimination have kept people of color in second-class status. It's not to say there aren't exceptions and people haven't risen above that, but for many, many people, denying them equal jobs, equal education, equal justice under law, it really has put a lot of people behind the, at least socioeconomic development. Because oftentimes many families of color are just getting by on a subsistence level. Unlike the white families and corporations that I mentioned earlier, who derived great wealth from the work of slaves, they were able to set aside, invest money and property, and live off that money and property for generations to come. It's something that we need to address.
One of the things that help with this is, as Sam has pointed out, this county has been a mixed workforce in race for ever since the beginning. In fact, the first successful freedom seeker we know of came when it was a Swedish colony in the 1640s. So the idea that the Underground Railroad is a 19th century concept does little service to the people who, having been enslaved, did not wish to stay enslaved. The chance of being a human being in public sight as well as in your own is something that's very deep within each of us, and we can understand how it could drive someone.
Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Everything will be alright.
That took me back. Took me back. Excuse me. I'm on my back to you. Hold on.
Yes.
A little while longer. Because everything is going to be all right. If you hold on, God will give you something. He'll let you know what you're supposed to do. He gave me what I was supposed to do. That's why it was successful. That's why you know my name.
She didn't have to go back. She was free. But she cared about other people, her family and friends. She turned to God on a regular basis. And she went back and went back time after time. Risk her life for others to share the freedom that we all deserve. And she stopped seeming. One time she bought her parents, who was on just an axle and wheels with a rope. And they came into Wilmington, Delaware, and I had connections in this area, in Delaware County and Chester County. And I sent Harriet Tubman and her parents up to the Longwood area. And we had friends down in that area who would transport them to William Still on the Vigilance Committee in Philadelphia, who recorded the names of the people passing through Philadelphia. Why would he record it? He recorded the names of the people who enslaved these people, who enslaved people, and the names of their siblings. As much information as possible. Remember, many were put on the auction block, and families were split. And families had to be put back together. On the Underground Railroad, we try to do that.
A manumission is a formal document certifying the release of an enslaved person into freedom. In 1773, Philadelphia Yearly Meeting made the owning of slaves a disownable offense, meaning you could no longer be a Quaker. This meant that no person could own a slave and still be a Quaker. When I first heard these, the language just really set in my soul. So this is the first one. Whereas a certain Negro named Please, aged about 45 years, has been under my care and in my service about 2 years left past, now known in consideration that all mankind have an equal nature and a just right to liberty, I have released, discharged, and set free, said Please, and do so discharge, manumit, and set at full liberty the said Please, and for myself, my heirs, executors, administrators, and every of them and all persons claiming under me, or any of them do not quit all claim to said Please, by which the law or custom of this province or any other government might have subjected her to slavery or deprived her of the full enjoyment of liberty. In witness where I have unto said my hand and seal on the 26th day of the first month of the year in our Lord, 1780, and desire this deed of manumission may be recorded in Chester Monthly Meeting book and the original kept by the said meeting for the said Please hereafter.
Before we sing this song, again, thank you so very much for letting us be a part of this. This is just so meaningful. I wanted to let you know that this song that we're going to be doing, City Called Heaven, was chosen by the seniors to be sung at their graduation, which is going to be on May 5th. We have several of them in the right here in our ranks that are going to be seniors, and it talks about being a pilgrim going on in a journey. And I think that's what we heard today, that it's still a pilgrimage, and it is our duty to make sure that we are there and that we are aware. I also want to recognize my wonderful cohort. This is Professor Tony Hall, who's my accompanist, our accompanist.
I am a pilgrim
There's many other things that I could tell you, but I'm not going to keep your time here. You've been very patient. You've been very kind. But I want you to know that all these fine people who have brought us all here together, they have one thing in common, the same thing we do. And that's a desire for God's will to be done. And I hope you have that too. Thank you so much.